другие.
Good day, dear watchers. It's укрлайф, and my name is Sergey Alushkin. Today, I would like to welcome you to Eldar Aliyev. He just came from the sunny USA to tell us how he and his company helps Ukrainian immigrants with all the law stuff in Miami, in immigration. Good day, Eldar.
Hi, how are you? Happy to be here.
So, are there really Ukrainians in Miami? Because the most stereotype is that Ukrainians only just go to Canada because they love to live in forests, big cities with good social welfare and others. And so Miami.
Okay, so the main important thing that you should know about Miami is, it's a paradise basically. You have warm weather throughout the year. The taxes that you pay there are very, low in comparison to the rest of the United States. That's why it's very attractive to even people from within the United States. Like, for example, people from the north, New Yorkers usually always migrate to Miami looking for warm weather and like low income taxes. And recently we have noticed that there is an increase in immigration from Ukraine and mostly Eastern European countries. There's a lot of immigration going on in Miami because, I agree with you, they do look for forest and something that looks like home, right? But Miami has many great things that they, that attracts them basically.
To try something new, different from home.
Exactly. I think Miami is it's attractive to anybody basically. It's like I said, nice weather. You have beaches everywhere. You don't pay a lot in taxes, which is great because in the rest of in the United States and some states you do pay a lot of taxes. In Canada, the tax rate is like 48%, I think. So that's something that would stop some migration from going there.
Are there many Ukrainians in Miami?
Yeah. I think the northern part of Miami Beach is Ukrainians.
Ukrainian beach.
Yeah.
So, what do your company do for Ukrainian immigrants?
Well, we don't only specialize in Ukrainian immigrants, we do it for all type of immigrants. There are many different visas that you could apply for, and what we do is we facilitate the process. We have a team of lawyers that are specialized in immigration, and what they do is basically, they study your case, they see where you come from, they see the different laws that apply to different countries, and then they help you get those type of visas, be it an investment visa, an immigration visa, family, etc.
So it's just for Ukrainians who live there, or?
No. It's for, let's say you have a family Ukrainian who wants to move to the States, anywhere in the States. I'm talking about Miami because it's the place where I have my company, and I always try to kind of give Miami publicity because it's a great place to live in. But I'm talking about immigrants from here that want to move to the States. So they'll contact us, we'll file all the papers, we'll study the cases, and then we'll make it easier for them to move over there. Immigration to the United States, if you don't have a lawyer, is very complicated. Getting a green card is a process that takes many years.
And it's just a lottery.
Sorry, what?
A lottery to win a green card.
Well, it depends. For example, if you start a business in the United States, you can get an investment visa. And then that allows you to, your kids to go to school. That allows you to live there. They give you a license. You can drive. You can basically have everything that a green card, resident has.
So you've just become like an American.
Exactly. For a period of time that you have your business in the United States.
But without green card, the process is very complicated.
Without a green card, like I said, if you don't have a green card, but you have an investor visa or any other type of visa, let's say a student visa, you can do the same things that a person with a green card has, minus probably work if you're a student. But if you are an investor visa, they do. Let's just put it this way: the transition to a green card when you have an investor visa is easier than if you didn't have anything else.
And so you help to acquire some visas, like students visa, working visa?
Any type of visa that would grant you migratory status in the United States.
Okay, and how do immigrants adapt there?
Well, the way I see it is that the community of Ukrainians is already, Miami is a cosmopolitan city, so there's many different nationalities. And adapting to Miami is not really like you go to a country where everybody is American, because in Miami it's completely different. Everybody is from different cultures. So the process becomes less hard for the immigrants, basically.
And it's just like in Canada, where there are also many different nationalities from all over the world.
Yeah, exactly.
But how about some centers for adaptation to learn language or American like culture?
Well, in
Miami?
the area that I told you about, where the concentration of Ukrainians and Russians are, is the North Miami area. There are schools that they'll teach you how to learn the language. They'll teach you how to learn English. They'll teach you how to learn Spanish. And we actually are in contact with schools that will allow you to learn the languages.
And what about Ukrainian language? Is there any schools
to learn Ukrainian?
Yes. For kids of immigrants, like?
No, I don't believe we have that yet. Although that would be a great idea, because you always want your kids to keep learning the language. Exactly. Yes.
All right. And I know that Miami is mostly occupied by people from Cuba.
Yeah, there is 1 million Cubans in Miami. Yeah.
Maybe Ukrainians are less than Cubans there, but they will fix it.
Yeah.
So, what can you tell us about the recent changes in relations between the USA and Cuba?
Well, you have two parts to this, two sides of this that have different views. So you have the Republican, the old Cubans that have been in the United States for half a century, basically. They have very different views than the more younger Cubans, right? So you have the old Cubans that are like more in a conservative way. They're looking at it as you shouldn't be doing business with the Castros, right? They don't want to establish a relationship between the United States and Cuba until the dictatorship that they think is still going on is over, right? Because that's encouraging them to keep on doing what they were doing for the past 50 years. The other side is the younger generations. They want to be open. They want to engage. They want to have relations with the. I mean, let's just put it this way: Cuba is 90 miles away from the United States. You know, it's one of the closest countries that they have. I mean, it's ridiculous that they haven't been more involved in the past decades. So those people will look at it and see Obama visiting Havana as a great thing, as a very encouraging thing, as new doors open. The old Republicans, they don't look at it that way. They think he basically, it's just they see it as disrespectful towards them. And you could argue either way, because they did leave Cuba and they left everything behind, and they don't agree with the ideologies that the government in Cuba follows. But then again, you need to let the younger generations move forward.
And how do Cubans react to Obama's gesture to hug Castro? Do you know about
same way.
this?
It's the same way. So some of them will look at it as a sign of disrespect towards them. The other ones will look at it. Look, I'm very pro Obama. All right, I think he's been one of the best presidents the United States has had in the past. I don't know, 20, 30 years, something like that. He did help the economy, and he's
in comparison with Bush, of course.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think I could have done better. Foreign policy-wise, he's also been, a great leader. And again, you're gonna have the more conservative saying that that's disrespectful. Him being there is disrespectful, and then you're gonna have the younger generations that are more liberal, saying that they agree with it, because at the end of the day, we in the humanity should have more alliances, and we should be less, conflicted, basically.
Okay, and do Republicans, with their new eccentric leader Donald Trump, relates to Ukrainians? Trump sees in Ukrainians such enemies as Cubans?
Well, I think Trump, he admires Vladimir Putin a lot. So by doing so, I think he's not with the Ukrainian people.
So Ukrainians who upvote for Trump, they are maybe mistaken.
They're Mexicans that vote for Trump too, so I think I will put them in the same category. Actually, I will put everybody that votes for Trump in the same category.
Okay, if you vote for Trump, you are not Ukrainian.
Yeah.
Well.
Or anybody with common sense.
All right. And what about Hillary Clinton? She will be the new president. Do you think so?
Yeah, I believe that as statistically, there are more Democrats than there are Republicans. So for Trump to win, he needs to win the ones that are indecisive, the ones that are in the middle, basically the ones that don't know if they're Republicans or the Democrats. And I think that Bernie Sanders is going to help Hillary Clinton a lot. Because if you put Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, even though they're completely different views, in politics they still look as outsiders.
Even Sanders?
Yeah, Sanders is looking as an outsider for sure, because it's completely against Capitol Hill and Washington, and he's very he's the opposite of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. They also see him as an outsider, not as a politician. Hillary Clinton is more looked upon as a just that, a politician. She's been in the business for so long that it's just hard to take her away from that.
But it's interesting how Republicans blame Sanders and Clinton, as they are all leftist, even like communists for the USA.
Yeah, well, Sanders is very socialist.
And Clinton, yes.
Clinton is more. She's more in the middle. I would say Clinton and Obama have the same views.
Moderate leftists.
Moderate leftists, exactly.
Okay.
I'll say Bernie is very, very socialist.
And can you somehow comment, like, the USA turned completely left in their political views for the recent decade, maybe after Bush,
yeah,
especially, and Europe turns right. How can you explain?
Well, but we're seeing the same cycle in the USA. There's a lot of people. I mean, I was very surprised that Donald Trump has gotten so far. At the beginning, I thought this was a joke. I mean, I thought because he goes about like he's a great businessman, but he doesn't want to show his income tax, so we don't really know how much he's worth.
But very, very large numbers.
Yeah, but there's a huge difference between what he says and what he's actually worth. But I see a cycle coming because there's a lot of tensions in the world, and when the economy is suffering, you always have this nationalist feeling going on. You can see it in England, you can see it in Austria, for example, which is a place that I grew up. And you could see a lot of people voting for someone as radical as Donald Trump,
For populism, who promises you quick solve.
Yeah, that's always going to happen. When we have economical problems, when we have a lot of immigration, there's always going to be a very nationalist feeling. They want to be like, we're the proud country. You're not from here, so we want you out. And that's always going to happen. You
take our jobs.
Exactly. And that's been going on forever. It's not a new thing.
But can the worldwide society somehow solve this problem?
Canada? Yeah. Okay. Can the world solve this problem?
Can the world?
I think history repeats itself. I think it's just a cycle. And I think at the end of the day, more educated people have they will come up top, and we understand that I mean the countries, yeah, we get it. Let's say you're English, right? So you're that's your country, right? But immigration is not a bad thing. It actually helps countries develop, and I think with time, the more educated minds are gonna be the ones that are gonna come up top.
And when you're talking about cycles, I can't help to remember Marx's prognosis about cycles of capitalism.
Yeah,
maybe they somehow true.
History is a cycle. The markets are a cycle too. You're gonna have recessions, and you're gonna have periods of great economic depression, and then you're gonna have periods like what we have in the United States now. Even though people are saying we do have, the economy is doing very well right now. So the market and history are all a cycle.
Okay, and the cycle cannot repeat like forever.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's very interesting how Ukraine can overcome this cycle and to move forward to integrate in the worldwide society, because right now in the international tensions, Ukraine in the middle of them, because
yes.
mostly the revolution in Ukraine provoked them, such tensions between Russia and all other world.
In my opinion, Ukraine should look more to side with Europe, and that's what they should be looking to do, to become more of a European city, because this is a beautiful city. I mean, I love Kiev. I think it's a great city, and it's very European,
But the Europe now struggles from internal conflicts, with the Brexit.
That's a problem. But I think Europe is going to do fine.
So you're a Euro optimist.
Yeah, I'm an optimist, yeah. Always.
Okay, that's fine. And let's return to Cuba. Do you think that younger generations of Cubans will forget about their revolutionary, about their legacy, party, and...
That's a hard question. I think I will hope they don't, because that is a big part of the world history. I mean, let's face it. Cuba wasn't great before the revolution. It's not that it's doing great now, but
much greater.
Yeah, well, it's doing better than I think it's doing better than it was doing before. But I wouldn't want them to. I wouldn't want them to forget about their history. That's something that they shouldn't do,
And what experience they should remember forever and ever from their past, socialist past?
I think that education is a very important thing, and having
healthcare. I know
healthcare is free. Yeah, even though it's not the best healthcare, but it is free. I think educating your future is the most important thing, and that's something that the Cuban government, I think, always tried to do. Educating everybody. It's not the same as it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago, because we know that many of the best professors have left Cuba, so that obviously makes them suffer. I mean, it's
firstly you educate them, and then they leave.
Then they leave, exactly. Because if you don't create jobs, then that's what happens. You educate them, great. They had a great school. They have a great math school, for example, but a great medicine school, But if you don't pay them enough, they'll leave. That's a problem.
But maybe not the money brings happiness.
Yeah, well, but we don't live in a perfect world. So it's just the way it is. You need to create.
We have to make it perfect.
Yeah.
And I hope that younger generations all over the world, not just Ukraine, USA, will work for this. So basically, do you have any advices for Ukrainian migrants who are watching us now? What can you tell them to help them migrate if they want?
Well, first of all, contact us. We're gonna leave the information for them to contact us if they want to leave, and to not be scared. I think United States, it's a great place for immigrants,
And why?
Because it's built like that. It's built for when you ask an American where are you from, nobody's really an American except Native Americans, right? Everybody's like German or Irish or Russian or Ukrainian, whatever they're from. So it's a society that, despite what's happening now, encourages immigration, basically.
And well, basically, it's whole history of United States.
The whole history is just immigration. You had the Irish first, you had the Germans, and it's gonna keep on going and on and on and on. It's always gonna be like that.
Conservative Americans, in this context of history, looks just funny. They think America is for Americans, but who is American?
Exactly. They don't make sense, because if that was the case, then you have the Hopi tribe or the Cherokee or any Native American tribe being the ones there forever.
Okay. Well, thank you for watching. Eldar Aliyev.
Thank you for having me.
And stay with укрлайф.